Hi there, and welcome to the Curious Collective podcast, conversations designed for the veteran and first responder community to bring awareness to those holistic practices that help us live our best life. So, tap into the wisdom and knowledge of our guests to heal, transform, and live as your true soulful self. Hi there, listeners, and welcome to this episode. We have with us the beautiful Suzanne Butler, who is a feng shui and manifestation expert. Now, we met through actually a Mums in Business networking group or a networking group here in Brisbane, and it turns out that we both had a lot in common, especially that Suzanne is a veteran also. So, welcome to the call. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm actually very energized. I've just had an awesome coaching call. I've picked up a new client this morning and life is good.
Oh, nice. That is a good start to the day. So please introduce yourself to our listeners. So, what is it that you're doing in the world right now?
So, as Katie said, I'm Suzanne. I am a veteran. I spent 8 years in the Australian Air Force and Navy. Yeah, I did switch. I got bored. And I'm now a feng shui expert. So I help people balance their homes to bring in joy, abundance, prosperity, clear environmental wealth blocks, any manner of things that could be happening for them. I help them balance out. So we enhance the good, we reduce the bad, and in practicality, people's lives just improve.
And so, this is right. So, this is a conversation for veterans and first responders. So, some might be going, feng shui, like what? Because they might have heard, on the TV what the TV's version of feng shui is. What is it to you? And, how could you describe it in a way that might create interest, curiosity, and intrigue in others?
Okay, so in its basic form, it is not about moving furniture and painting walls, adding trinkets or good luck charms. It is literally balancing the energy that is existing in your home to support you. So you might have one of four homes. There's four types of home. There's a good for money, good for people home. There's a bad for money, bad for people home. There's a good for money, bad for people, and there's a bad for money, good for people home. So if you have a deep think about this for, you know, a minute and have a think about your situation right now compared to the last house you lived in, have things improved or declined? If you have moved and you've started fighting with your spouse or partner, or relationships with your children started to deteriorate, then the probability, or health, that sort of thing, the probability is you have a bad for people house. If you've had money, you used to have money, and for some reason you've moved into a new house and it's just started flowing out, you keep getting bills, you might have lost a job, there's panic around where you're going to pay your next mortgage or rent from, your home is probably bad for money. If it's happened at the beginning of the year, then you potentially your home's gone into a money lock or a people lock. So it's all about the energies that change with Chinese New Year. And what we do is we place elements around the home. So we've got 5 elements that we work with, which is metal, fire, wood, earth, and water. And depending on the energies and the annual stars that fly in at Chinese New Year is what we prescribe to place in the home. So I don't know, is this a video recording as well? Yep. So you can see behind me here in my office, I've got a lot of red, a lot of fire. I actually need fire in here, which that's my fire remedy. So it's not about putting in trinkets. This area is also my northwest, which is your travel and helpful people area, which is my personal perfect position for work, being that I'm a number 2 trigram. This is so in depth. I won't bore you with it all right now, but I'm a 2 trigram. My best position for work is actually in the northwest, which that's where I'm in my home. It just so happens
Mm.
that this house, my office is in the northwest. The travel and helpful people, you see there behind me, I've got a fake book with London on it. Now, I love travel. Travel has been my number one passion for as long as I can remember. I went to the UK and did some work last year with a colleague. We feng shuied a hotel. And the intention is to go back very soon and do more work with her. So that is then an affirmation or an intention that's very, very prominent that will encourage me and enable me to bring that goal closer. There's so many things we can do in the home depending on what is where and what is going on for you. But all I can tell you is that if there's something going wrong in your life and you are doing everything to change it and nothing is working, it is your home. It's pure and simple. It is your home not supporting you, and we can fix it.
This fascinates me because honestly, when we talk about energy, and I've talked about energy a lot on many other previous episodes, is I've only ever looked at energetics from like my own energy, my children's, my husband's, people coming into the home. I've never really thought about the energy of the home as such. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole nother level to it.
So when you've got people that, they do, like, I am a massive believer in energy work, personal energy work. I have bi-monthly sessions with my practitioner doing body code. I randomly go and have Reiki or kinesiology or do breath work, any number of modalities. They all are fantastic. There is not one that is better than the other, as far as I'm concerned. They all can work in together. But so the analogy around why you need your home balanced is if you haven't got a supportive home, if you are having those issues, you go and have a Reiki session or a kinesiology session or whatever you're going to have done. And you walk out of there feeling, oh my God, that was amazing. And then you go home to an environment that your kids are fighting, that your husband's sniping at you, that your relationship isn't great, and you've just done work to try and fix yourself in that regard, and you walk straight back into that fire. The groceries haven't been done. There's always washing lying around. There's clutter everywhere. You've just undone the big work you've done. You've literally just wasted your money because you've paid someone to try and rebalance you, but then you've walked back into an unbalanced environment.
And then you're confused about what's happening, and it's just, yeah,
It's just a
cyclic.
cycle. So you're not getting any better. Nothing's fixing itself. And you're wondering why there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. I
Yeah,
do a lot
awesome.
of my healing. I don't even have to have therapy or any modality anymore because it just automatically happens now. I have the tools. My home is supporting me to make decisions and quick decisions. I'm perimenopausal right now. You can imagine, emotions are so high. I could quite easily sit in that funk of despair, emotional despair. But I now know, oh, you're feeling that way. Wonder why that happens. The next day I understand why that's happening. So I don't sit in that, I don't dwell in that that space anymore. It enables me to get back up, acknowledge it, get back up and move on.
Yeah, I'm hearing the word flow, like it creates energetic flow, not
Yeah,
only within you and the work you're doing, but then the household. So,
yeah.
yeah, I like it. It's sort of like another layer of curiosity you could perhaps delve into if you're still hitting blocks in particular areas of your life. You could go, hey, what about this? I could explore this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If you've got money problems and you're doing all the counseling and the therapy and the doing all the rah-rah work about I don't have any money blocks and working through it all, but money is still not flowing. You might have a bad money house, or there might be energies inside the house that aren't supporting, or you might have simple things in your home that are actually blocking it. So I will preface this by this is my opinion. You do with things as you will. I am not the Feng Shui police. I am not the spiritual police. This is your decision. I'm explaining this based on what I know to be true. If you have Buddha in your home and you are not Buddhist, why is it there? If you are using it in a meditation space, fine. If you have Buddha in your home because you think it's Zen, pay close attention to where it is in your home and what effect that area of your life is having. So if you have put Buddha in your southeast, for example, your southeast is your wealth and abundance area. Most people don't understand what Buddha is all about. Buddha gave up everything for spiritual enlightenment. He lived a life of poverty. You're putting that energy into your southeast and you're wondering why you haven't got any money. The lucky Buddha is a bit different, but I'm talking about the Thai sitting Buddha, the proper, where they say in Thailand, please do not remove from Thailand because it's revered. But we go to TK Maxx and we think, oh, that looks pretty. I'll put that in my home. Typically in the wrong place.
Mm.
And we're not giving it the reverence it deserves. So people might put it in their bedroom and then they wonder why they're not having any sex in their relationship.
Mm.
Or they put it in their abundance area and then wonder why there's no money.
Interesting.
Or they put it in their relationships area, or the East, family and community area, and they wonder why they have no friends.
Mm.
So we have to be very, very careful about not just the energy of the home, but what are we putting in it? Your art speaks volumes about what is going on for you.
Oh, we're
If you've
safe.
got
My
images,
husband won't let me put anything on the walls. So we've got like hospital walls in our house, perfectly white, no art.
you might be all right then. But it's really interesting. And when I go into an actual home and I can consult with someone, I don't tell people to get rid of things. That is their home. I'm not about to tell them to get rid of anything. But if I see something that is ringing alarm bells for me, I'll get them to explain what it is and what it's telling them. So one of my clients was having issues um, getting help for things. So your northwest is your travel and helpful people area, which is where I am right now. And I think it was their northwest. Could have been. No, it was their west. Sorry, apologies. It was their west. So your west is your new beginnings area. So with things you're wanting to start, if you're wanting a new family, get pregnant, you would go to the west and see what's going on there. And now she was having difficulty with new clients and trying to bring in new clients and make more money and hit targets. Her husband was having issues getting commissions, all sorts of things. So had a look at the art in that area. And they've done a lot of travel, which is great. It's a passion of mine. And bought some beautiful photos in Morocco. And they were photos that were actual art. They were black and white art. And I said, okay, tell me about this. And the photos were of street children in Morocco. So when you looked at them, it's beautiful art. But I said, do you not see the despair in these images? Do you not see the poverty in these images? And she's like, oh, I'd never thought about that before. So you've got this in your new beginnings area where you're wanting to start, you're wanting to really get your business going, and you've got these images of poverty.
Interesting.
Another client couldn't work out why that they were her and her husband, they loved each other desperately, why they were fighting all the time, kept niggling at each other. Why? Went into the house and their kitchen was in the southwest, which is your love and relationships area, and sitting on the bench were 3 knife blocks. I said, you don't see here? She said, what do you mean? I said, you've got 3 knife blocks on the top of your bench. I said, they're weapons. What do you use weapons? You use weapons for fighting. I said, put them away. But it wasn't just one, it was 3 knife blocks. So in the
3
cupboard
knife
they went.
blocks.
Yeah. He liked cooking. And then in the center of their home were a couple of prints of, so he was Greek, so their entire home was blue and white, like is in the Greek Isles. Very beautiful aesthetic. And this is where it gets tricky because an aesthetic can look lovely, but it can also be quite damaging. I'll get into that in a minute. And in the center of the home, so the center itself, it's health and well-being, it's everything. So if you've got a cluttered center, declutter it, because if you're constantly sick, that will be a major reason why. And on the wall were these 2 old Grecian, like from ancient Greek Olympics, of 2 people boxing. And I said, tell me about this. And it was the first time she'd actually really looked at it. She said, oh my God, that's got to go, doesn't it? I said, yeah. They haven't been fighting since.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really powerful way to heal so many different things, to move through trauma. Like, my experience in defense was not ideal. I had a major accident. I am a DVA customer, unfortunately. I've had my spine fused. I've had all sorts of things go wrong. My experience in defense was not good. There's trauma there, just like so many others. But I've been able to use it to help me heal and not be attached to the past. So things don't affect me as well as what they would have. One of my most recent, this is how deep it actually can go when I do a report for someone. One of my most recent clients, I said in February, the energies change. We've just moved into a brand new 20-year cycle this year as well, which is really exciting. But she started having mental breakdowns from Februuary. Major, like, she knew what was going on, but she didn't know why, what was going on or how. And I said, okay, I need to have a look at this for you, because there's going to be something in this house that's creating it. 3 or 4 areas brought up mental health problems. So we've had to balance it. We balanced it quite quickly. Within 2 weeks, she's back to normal.
Yeah, wow.
So if people are suffering from any trauma and they know it's gotten worse since they've moved, because I know a lot of them will have moved around considerably, there will be pockets in your home that are potentially creating the problem, and we can fix it.
It's interesting too. I would love your take on, you know, people that are in the defense still do shift around every 2 to 3 years into the new home. Can you enter a home where people have left their, you know, not so balanced energy in, like a previous family that you're sort of moving into that space as
So
well?
when it comes to finding a house, there's questions you can always ask, which will give you a really good indication about what the house type is for a start. So there's a lot of research you can do on a property. I use a website called On the House here in Australia, and it will give you the history. So if it's had people moving in and out every 12 months, there's a problem. 100% there's a problem, because no one wants to move that often. No one. If they're selling, always ask why they're selling. If it's divorce, then it would be okay. I would rather that than be because they can't afford it anymore. It's a lot easier to remedy a house that someone's gotten divorced than what it is when it's about money. So there's just certain things you can always find out answers to just by asking a couple of questions. But yeah, like, so I've just moved here in February, from an apartment in the city, and the difference living here. So the apartment was actually bad for money and in a money lock. Last year was terrible for me financially. Terrible. Horrendous even. Whereas I've moved here in the new year, like February, and things have just opened up for me.
Oh,
Opportunities, more clients, more exposure. You know, I'm being nominated for awards. Like, all these things, the good things are really happening, but it's bad for people as well. But I've been able to remedy it, so it's actually supporting me. So I wasn't concerned about that. If it had been bad for money, I'm like, hell no. I'm not living in another house that's bad for money, ever. Ever.
We all have
It's just
choice.
not worth it. Because I mean, you can always fix bad for people if you're getting it sick, or I'm single, so it doesn't really bother me being bad for people. But money, you need money. And this also then explains why not everybody is struggling at the moment. And I know we have a cost of living crisis, but why is not it affecting everybody? Because some homes are supporting the people that live there. Some people are getting great opportunities, and then some people aren't. Why is there always that one house on the street that has terrible tenants all the time?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's the house type, it's attracting them.
It's super fascinating. I bet a lot of the listeners that are tuning into this have not even considered the energetics of their home, which is super interesting. So tell me, how did you get into this line of work? Like, when did you, along the point in your journey, discover feng shui, and why did you keep pursuing it?
So when I've been doing this for nearly 10 years. I'd moved into houses here in Queensland. I've moved into this house and everything went to absolute shit straight away. Like, and my ex was in hospital. He needed a bypass. He had an immune condition and needed a single bypass done. I was running 3 businesses. They were making money but had no money. I had adrenal fatigue, came down with adrenal fatigue. The relationship was absolutely toxic. Everything that could be going wrong was going wrong. And I now know why, because I've retrospectively, every house I've lived in, I've retrospectively gone back and seen what the energies actually were, and then everything makes sense. And I found a post in a Facebook group about feng shui, and I went, I'll watch this video. And as soon as I watched it, I thought, I have to do this. This is my last chance. I don't know how to fix it any other way. So I didn't know, I had no money. I didn't know how. I was literally getting my defense pension at the time, which was like $650 a fortnight
Oh,
or
wow.
something. You know, the businesses were making money, but it was going straight back out again. There was nothing staying in the bank account. And I thought to myself, I need to do this. This is something I need to do. And just press the submit. I had no idea. I just had to trust. And got my personal report, and I started implementing, and the change was nearly instant. The phone rang, got a big job. My ex was a painter. We got a big job. The money landed in the bank account. But I stayed there. Like, what is going on? This is, and then it stopped because the house, when it's balanced, will always make it known what you need to work on. So if you have any money problems, it will stop the money flow again. It will show you what it feels like, and then it will stop it because it will stop it for you to work on it. And my money block was me doing tax returns, because in my mind, because we'd had no money, I'd done my own business calculations, because you know I'm such an accountant, and I'd done my own calculations and determined, because you know I know what I'm talking about, that I would have to pay tax. But in my mind, if I don't do my tax return, I won't get a tax bill, so I won't have to pay the tax, so I won't do the tax. Could that be a bigger block? Bigger block of flow. So I was doing everything right, but ignoring that, blinkers on, we won't look at that pile of paperwork. So I called my mentor. I said, what am I doing wrong? She said, let's do a Zoom. So we did a walk around the house. She said, no, everything looks great. It was uncluttered. I'd gotten rid of so much stuff. Like, it was looking good. And then we hit my office. And she said, you can't see the problem. I went, well, no, because that's why I'm calling you. And she said to me, so this is where you sit every single day. I said, yes. She said, and this is your desk set up with you looking into the corner. I said, yeah. She said, you still can't see the problem. Well, she's trying to prompt me. And this is what I do with my clients. I don't tell them. I try and get them to see for themselves before I go down that path of telling them. And I'm like, no. She said, what's your power position? I said, northwest. She goes, so why are you sitting that way? I said, because my desk. She goes, why are you sitting that way? Turn your desk around. So I did that later. And then she said, hang on, switch back, go back a bit. And I turned the camera around, and she said, what's that pile of paperwork
No,
there?
she knew.
And I said, what's my
What
tax
pile?
return stuff? She said, why is it sitting there? I said, because I haven't done my tax return. She goes, why? I said, because I'm going to have to pay tax and I don't have the money. She goes, do your tax. I said, what do you mean? She goes, do your tax. And I'm like arguing with her, and all her response was, just do your tax return. So I thought, okay, I'll do my tax return. Then I can poo-poo her decision,
Yeah.
or, you know, that Because then I still do it now. I still try and prove it wrong. So I did my tax return and I got an $8,000 return.
Oh, nice.
So since that day, I have never not done my tax
Yeah.
instantly. I always do it. But it released that. So it released that block for me. And then everything started to flow again. The next thing it did was end my relationship, which was certainly not a bad thing because it literally was very toxic. But I started doing my visioning and working out what I wanted my life to look like, because this is a lot, part of it. We can put the feng shui in, but unless you want to know, what you want to do with your life,
Kind of a big
well, that's
deal to
nice.
know what you want.
Not going to do much. So I started putting a vision in of what I wanted my relationship to look like. And because that did not work with how he was ever going to be, it ended the relationship. I didn't learn my lessons from that. So then I got married 6 months later to somebody else who was a narcissistic, alcoholic, ex-army too, actually, by the way. No responsibility for anything, had DVAs on him, got married to him, had taken no time to heal myself from the previous toxicity. So again, the house started teaching me what was going wrong and what I needed to work on. That lasted probably 15 months. And as soon as that ended, I'm like, okay, I've got to take this stuff seriously now. I'm re-feng shuiing the house because I'm going to need the support to move through this next part of the journey, which was obviously divorce, separation. And I do not believe, had I not done that, had I not had the feng shui in place, the process would have been as quick as what it was.
Yeah.
Because it supported me in ways that I did not even think possible. It took 12 months, but in the scheme of things, well, it was going to take 12 months anyway, based on you can't have to wait 12 months to get divorced. So, but the process was made a lot simpler. And that's when my healing really, really started. That's when I became a practitioner. I did my certification. And the whole point around it is that I can't be the best possible practitioner if I haven't done the work myself.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So I'm consistently doing the work. I'm very authentic. I'm very real. I will tell people when I'm not feeling myself. I won't take things on now if it doesn't feel right. I see so many other practitioners on varying modalities out there, and I'm thinking, I understand you're going through stuff, but this is not helping you. You're putting everything out there like you're naked for the world to see. You're still working through it. I'm still working through stuff, but I understand now. Like there's a massive understanding. For me, I can see it in people. I see so many of my friends on Facebook, everything they're going through. I'm like, oh my God, can I just feng shui your house? Can you just finally contact? I
It's so
had one
hard
person do
it's
that
so
the other
hard
day.
to zip it, isn't it? It's like,
I don't force this on anyone. I know what the benefit is, but I have to wait for them to come to me.
Yeah, they need to
Because it
choose
has to
as
be,
well. Otherwise, yeah.
it's not ethically aligned with me. Even cold calling and stuff, I just don't like doing it. It just does not
Me
sit
either.
well
My
with
body
me.
says no.
Yeah. Like I said, I went on a retreat and I had to meditate for 3 days of why I couldn't do what one business coach was telling me I needed to do. I didn't need to do it at all. No, it doesn't. And then I worked obviously in my human design. Like I've done all these things to help me become the best person that I can be. And I am a far cry from that person that walked out of the gates of HMAS Cerberus on that last day, broken.
Because you
So it's
chose yourself and you chose to look at ways that you could bring yourself back into balance and alignment and follow the path that your soul actually wants to.
Yeah. And it is. I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about empowering people to be whatever they want to be. If they want to be an astronaut, hey, let's make it happen. Don't tell me you can't do something. You can, you're choosing not to.
Yeah, I love that. That is awesome, actually. Which brings me to a really good question for you, which is, if people from listening to this are interested in finding out more about what you've spoken about, so balancing their home, looking at things that could happen, the feng shui, north, south, east, west, all the elements of the feng shui that you spoke about, what advice do you have for them if they're brand new to it and they're like, what?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few things that I have that I've put together because there was nothing else out there, and it was very much a lot of guesswork. I'm an ex-sailor. I swear a lot. I've actually got a sub brand. My business is called Harmonizing Energies Feng Shui, but I have sort of a sub brand called What the Fuck is Feng Shui? So everything
Yes.
I've actually got I've got a mini course called What the Fuck is Feng Shui? Which I think it's $37, and you can work through all these modules. There's even downloads that you can map your house out and give you some idea of what directions are where, and then you can identify maybe areas of your life that you need to declutter or work on. And you can start there. That's a very entry level, $37, in you go. If you wanted to understand the energies of your actual home, I can do a home energetic assessment for you, which I think is like $47, $49. Can't remember what it is. But I would tell you what's going on. And it's like a bit of a psychic reading for your home. I'm not a psychic. But I can tell you.
Energy never
You tell me
lies.
you can tell me what's going on. I can tell whether you're lying to me or not. It's basically, I can tell from your house whether you're lying to me or whether. So a lot of people will come to me and they say, okay, so how's your relationship? It's really good. I call bullshit. What do you mean? Well, there's like fights here, and then the house is bad for people, and it's in a people lock, and yeah, I call bullshit. So how often do you actually fight with each other? I'll have a few tips a week. Yeah, that's not a happy relationship. Because they're so used to it, they think it's okay. So we can balance that out. Or you can join my got a group program where you get a personalized report for your home. You get told what you need to put where, and you've got 2 years of ongoing support
Oh, that sounds
for
cool.
$1,600. So I think it works out to be like $30 a week. So yeah, it's less than a packet of ciggies.
I don't know anyone that smokes these days, on a different note. So good.
Or vape. I don't even know how much they even cost, but I believe it's expensive.
Yeah, yuck. But yeah, there's so much information out there too. Like I mentioned it when I very first started this pivot into the veteran first responder space is, you don't just Google feng shui. You just get inundated with BS, with noise. So, if you're interested in exploring this, please connect with Susan, because I trust her and I recommend her. And I know nothing about feng shui, like nothing. So please connect with her. All the links to all of her pages will be down in anywhere this is posted on the internet. But we would also like to thank you so much for your time today. I know this is just a tiny snippet into what you do, but it's been so good to have you share with us. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the listeners before we go?
All I can tell you is you don't even need to believe in it for it to work. So, a lot of other healing you need to have to want, like, hypnotherapy, you have to want to make a change for it to work. I do a lot of work with women whose husbands are not interested. And we covertly remedy the home. And then the husband comes home with bonuses or promotions and can't understand why, because they've been begging for them for years and nothing's happened all of a sudden. And she goes, "Oh, I couldn't possibly understand how or why." So yeah, there's ways that you don't have to believe in it for it to benefit you. It just works.
It just works. Thank you so much, listeners. Energy never lies. Please stay curious and explore the path that is opening up in front of you. Katie out.